makes you feel the most vulnerable?
What makes me feel the most vulnerable is when I don't lie to myself, when I sit with my emotions, with my thoughts, with what's in my heart, and I accept them and I let them be.
We are live coming to all of you from sunny San Diego. No, I'm excited. Hey, I feel a little rusty. I feel like we haven't filmed in a little bit. How long has it been, Brandon? Like
Over a month, right?
over a month? It feels like it's been a minute, but I kind of threw together this shoot last minute because my very dear friend Vanessa Santos is our guest today, and she and I have been talking about making this happen forever. Just because the girl and I can talk for hours. Like the first time that we met, I've had a few introductions like this in the last like year and a half or two, which has been very validating and like intuitively supportive, I suppose, is a way of saying it, where like I sit down with someone and it is just like parallel after synchronicity after synchronicity, like so many bizarre things in common and just weird coincidences in our lives that feel like almost unreal. And then we clicked so deeply. Like we were supposed to grab a coffee. We ended up talking for like 3 hours. And this was, I had to ask Vanessa, the concept of time to me is like non-existent anymore. I have no perception of time, but I think we've known each other for probably at least 2 years, I would estimate. So that meeting was around 2 years ago. And since then, we have done so many things together. She was one of the partners, and I believe the CEO was her title when she was at inaugural Latina, and she invited me to come and speak on their panel for Amigas in Business, which is a huge convention that they put on for the Latina community that really supports Latina businesses and concepts and topics. And it was honestly, I think, one of my favorite, if not my favorite panel that I've ever done. It's where I met Denise Fossey of Made Beauty, like so many things and touch points that Vanessa and I have had have felt like so meant to be. And her life and my life have both changed in such big ways simultaneously. And we'll see like how deep we both want to get into our, very personal life, because there's an aspect to that we've shared very deeply in the last year. But there's also an aspect to our professional life that we've shared a lot of kind of pain around and shifts and changes this year. Vanessa has just bloomed into an even stronger version of herself, which I didn't even think could be existent. But like, it's this vulnerable strength. Like, I think she's leaned even more into her vulnerability through the pain that she's been through, and the way that she is rebuilding the life that she wants is really inspiring. So I'm excited for you all to hear her speak. She is just one of those people that when she speaks, you want to listen. She's very inspiring. She's very supportive. And the one thing that I can say very sincerely about Vanessa is that she does the work for the right reason. She does purpose-driven work because of the purpose that she feels. And there are so many people in, the nonprofit space, the community building space, the networking space, the lifting up the Latina network that I'm tied to through my work in the beauty industry. But she just stands out to me as such like a pillar of authenticity and for really doing it for the right reasons. And so I just applaud her for that, and I'm proud to be her friend for that reason. So without further ado, she'll be here any minute, so I'm going to stop yapping and we'll see where this goes. We didn't really plan what we were going to talk about, so this might be a bit of a roller coaster ride and will probably be emotional knowing the two of us. But I hope you enjoy, and I'll see you at the end. Girl, I feel like half of the things that you and I talk about, like, are not fit for public consumption.
It's okay. Good.
Yeah,
Great.
absolutely. Yes, because, and that speaks so much to the space the safe space that
That we
is our relationship.
Yeah.
Because I think when you're able to just share without any fear of being judged or fear of like someone repeating something that you say and skewing it the wrong way. Like I feel like I could say something inappropriate to you and I could be like, "Oh shit, I don't know why I said that." And like you would just
I'd
be
be
like,
like,
"Yeah.
I get it. You're
Yeah,
human.
yeah. Yeah."
I think that's just the beauty of knowing who your people are.
Yeah.
And that's the representation of safety. And I think you and I lack safety in so many ways.
Mm.
But how beautiful that we can then give it to ourselves in this stage of life.
Mm. Well, I thank you for it.
Likewise, I thank you for it.
Thank you for as I was saying, I think that you wore this sweatsuit the day that we met. I was like, that kind of feels like full circle for me this moment.
I wanted to wear it.
Yes, and it's so perfect for, of course, like the work that you have done and you continue to do. And I said a little bit in the intro to the episode, but I really wanted to create a space also for you to introduce yourself because you are such a multifaceted, multi-hyphenate, multi-talented individual who, like you so eloquently talk about in your incredible newsletter that you share, you are in the in-between. And that is exactly the basis of this podcast. It is sharing when you are in it.
Yeah.
We need more people like you who are aspirational and who have seen such incredible success to be able to share when they're in the in-between, when they're in the like question mark, so that it's not always like, that's what it was like for me and now I'm past the finish line.
Not all polished.
Yeah. No, I'm
Lived
actually
in
in
college.
shit right now. That's what people can relate to.
The
That's
shit
why
is
we
the
can
juicy
connect.
part. That's the only when people go through the shit, that's why movies and books are
Yeah.
created. No one wants to see anything from somebody living a very plain life.
Yeah.
And I'm not judging that, but
No, God bless. I mean, I can only wish my life was less complex and emotional.
you were built for it.
Yeah.
We're built for it. We're built for it. But thank you for saying that. It's an honor to be here.
I'm so excited.
I love how you create, how you show up. And I think that's why we connected.
Yeah.
And I always say energy snitches. And I love it when it snitches for the right people.
I was saying in the intro, I won't forget, I want you to do your introduction, but I was saying in the intro when we first met, all of the parallels. We were sitting with each other and we just kept being like, what? And I wish that I wrote them all down because at this point, like I don't, but like even down to both of us having a pet named Elvis,
I know.
which is not that uncommon of a pet name, I get. But
I don't
like,
think so. I've never met anyone else with a pet named
only
Elvis.
once for me, only once. But pet named Elvis, like it was just, we both had partners in the music industry. We were both between Nashville and LA. We both Latina speakers. We're both like, it was just like thing after thing after thing.
Ambitious, soulful, spiritual, emotional, but headstrong.
Business partnerships, parallels between business partnerships and sharing that with one another.
Discovering all the facets of our spirituality and respecting it and not using it as a form of bypassing.
Absolutely. Even dropping you off after the first time we met at your place and seeing that your address at the time
Oh my God.
was my angel number.
Yeah.
I was
That's
just
wild.
like, and I know 1111 or 111 repetitively is a lot of people's number, but like at that time was when that was really solidifying for me. It was
a sign.
It was so many signs.
Shout out to Gabby for introducing us.
Gabby.
Shout out to Gabby.
I love Gabby so much. You know, I was actually thinking that I want to have her back on because last time I had Gabby on, I had her with her co-host of her podcast, and they're not doing that anymore.
She's doing it on
and
her
she's
own.
doing so many incredible things with Substack. I have to have her back. But yeah, shout out Gabby. Thank you for connecting us.
I love when women do that. When they don't gatekeep.
I'm
in my era of no gatekeeping.
Girl, I'm like no gatekeeping to my detriment sometimes because I don't I'll introduce a good friend to someone, and you know about this story, who's like, I don't know as well. And then I'm like, oh, maybe I should like rein it in a little bit because I want to make sure the people I am introducing to each other are quality and it's going to be a good experience.
I also think that everybody has a responsibility to assess for themselves.
True.
You can't assess it all.
Absolutely true. Someone that I resonate with, you might not at all.
Right.
But there's a
Some people like
baseline.
matcha with oats. Some people like matcha with almond milk. That's really what it is.
One hundo. It literally. Okay. Introduction. How would you like to introduce yourself? Because there's so much. I mean, you have so much in your back pocket, but there's so much forward as well.
I think in this season in life, I introduce myself as my name is Vanessa Santos, and my handle, I added Leon to honor my grandmother's last name.
Oh, I love that. I didn't see that.
Yeah, I just changed it on Instagram.
I like
That was a very big, like, oh, I'm really stepping into who I am. And I'd love to lead with my word of the year, which is sovereignty. And I'm a woman who is learning to love herself again, building herself back up, and finding a way to do so without judging myself so harshly. And I do many fucking things. I do whatever my heart pleases.
I mean, you are kind of an icon in the Latina community space. That's not just my perception. That is the perception of so many in what you've built and what you've poured into our community. And something I said in the intro is that when it comes to your purpose-driven work, it always just radiates that you are doing it from your heart and for no other reason than from your heart. I mean, you are a badass businesswoman,
Thank you.
but your heart leads everything that you do, even the logistics.
Yeah.
Even the logistics.
And that's hard to do because when you grow up in environments that are so male dominated and centric,
Let's get into this.
let's
because
get into it.
we've touched on your childhood a little bit in our friendship and how you really raised your siblings. But yeah, let's dig in a little bit on that if you'd
Yeah.
like.
So I'm from New York and I love coffee. I had to say it for my New Yorkers just because it always
Absolutely.
comes out. I do say water. That's just how I speak. From New York City.
I don't think I've even ever noticed.
Really?
It just must be you know what I mean?
I have my things, right? Just like talking with my hands. I have my beads. So sorry.
It's a little ASMR. It's okay.
ASMR, I love it.
Yeah.
So I grew up in New York City and daughter of immigrant parents. My abuelita was one of the women who raised me. I say the community raised me because my parents were so young. When they had me, they were so new to this country and they didn't know what they were doing. I mean, I had so many expectations of how they should have parented, but I think of myself now in adulthood and I'm like,
Yeah.
oh my God, I'm still trying to figure out how to love me, let alone how do you then care for another human being when you're still trying to figure out yourself in this country. And it's just so interesting that we're now living again in a country where so many of us feel like we have to hide because it's not safe.
Yeah.
And so there's so many just synchronicities that keep occurring. And I grew up in Washington Heights, the Bronx, all across New York City. So actual New York City,
Mm-hmm.
right? There's a distinction.
Mm-hmm.
And I grew up incredibly humble, very, very humble. I remember the paint chip like coming off the wall and the heater and Section 8. And I just have so much admiration and respect for families and people who dare to follow in a certain path and go somewhere without any clear roadmap on how to make it and find a way. And so I can speak about my upbringing now with so much reverence and respect, where just a few years ago, I won't lie to you, it was such a source of pain and suffering. And I realized that I built so much of my life on the energy of I must suffer to succeed. I must suffer to.
You're speaking my language right now. And this is where so much of, we were talking about this before we started to film. It's just so interesting how people are put into your lives where you get to learn the lessons together or they get to be a mirror to the lesson that you're learning.
Yeah.
And what you're sharing right now is very relevant for me currently.
I love when people can mirror, and I love human design. So in human design, I'm a reflector,
Yes.
and reflectors are all about mirroring. And
I'm
we're
a
going to mirror good, bad, and
generator,
Ooh. So you're the spark.
I guess.
You're the spark starter. Yeah, you light the match. You're a fire starter, which makes a lot of sense with Capricorn and so many Leo placements.
It lined up with a lot of Capricorn stuff for sure. Like it's kind of like you get shit done.
Yeah, I reflect, and I don't mean to reflect intentionally. I just can't help what I see. And so I try to navigate that gently because not everyone is ready to receive.
Yes.
Right. And I just put a threads about this is I love in a language that some people haven't learned yet. And I had to learn how to love myself in an environment where my conditioning was love is conditional, where love wasn't open and honest. Love was very much fear-based and control-based. And my parents were doing the best they could. And I had to learn how to love myself, and not just myself, but my siblings and my cousins. My first job was at 13. I had 2 jobs by the time I was 18. I was moving out, helping my family pay bills and rent. And then that becomes part of your identity. And so the universe finds a way to shed you of those identities so you can understand who you're actually meant to become. And that doesn't happen so early on for me. Well, call myself a late bloomer. I actually love it. I used to be so ashamed because I'm like, all my friends were doing all these things. And it wasn't until my therapist said to me, fuck that.
Yeah.
You're a late bloomer for a reason, because the experience that you're collecting is meant for you to put that out there so it becomes someone else's survival guide.
100%. I mean, I will tell all of you listening repetitively through this episode how important it is you go and follow Vanessa. You subscribe to her newsletter. What she shares is so vulnerable and inspiring. And it always just like pops into my inbox at the right time. I don't get to sit down with every single one.
Yeah, because I'm a yapper.
But no, but it feels like it will appear in my inbox when it's meant to, and it'll be the one that's meant for me as a message to receive. And it's just, I couldn't agree more with that.
Yeah. Letters from the In-Between was sort of a love letter to myself, you know?
Yeah.
I existed in so many environments that had to be polished, especially when you're building and growing such a big brand. There's so many restrictions and things you can and cannot say. There's so many expectations, especially when you start building a large following. People are expecting you to act a certain way. And I think that's where we miss the part of humanity. If you are constantly having expectations about how someone should behave, then you keep looking at them from the lens of how they can please you. And I think that's what's so beautiful about our friendship, is that we choose to look at ourselves with fresh eyes every single time. Because who I am when you met me is not who I am today. And right in return.
And I think we both recognize that if we're doing this life thing right, then we're not going to be the same person tomorrow. And so supporting and loving that about one another.
And it's going to be messy, and it's not going to be all figured out and polished. And I don't care for that, right? That's also not something I want to strive to, because that's unnecessary stress.
Yeah. Yes.
And Letters from the In-Between, my newsletter, is a place where I can be vulnerable and I'm honest about my collapse. I wanted to be intentional about my collapse so that my rebuilding can be authentic. And so it needed to be real. And sometimes it's 3 a.m, 4 a.m, 5 a.m. of when I write it. So it's hard to stick to a schedule. 1, my reflector nature. 2, my ADHD. But 3, I stopped trying to control the things. Because I'm like, I can't tell people to let go if I'm not letting myself go as well.
Absolutely. And it's human.
Yeah.
I mean, I think what you're putting out there, you've found a way, and this is a place where I really think that we relate as well. We're both, if I may, very good at finding a way to take the woo and make it digestible for the mainstream.
Yeah. We talk about this a lot.
Yeah. And I think that shines through a lot with your newsletter, because it is something that is so beautifully crafted and professionally presented and professionally written and all of those things, but it feels messy in the most human way. But that's what we need. That's what we want. Like it's messy professionalism.
Because life is meant to be messy, professional, and all the things. It's really meant to be colorful. I've always colored outside of the lines.
Yeah.
I remember last year, with all the things that happened, what I call my year of collapsing, my year of complete shattering, I called my dad and I asked him, like, what did I used to do when I was little? Because I was trying to get back to the root of who my little self was, because she's the one that needs the love the most. When you get to adulthood and you kind of lose yourself, it's because somewhere along the line in your childhood, you were never honored. And so you start putting layers and masks and conditions and things until you're like, wait, what the fuck is going on here?
Yes.
And my dad said, you would lock yourself in the room for hours and write. And I used to write as a form of escapism because it was a very chaotic, toxic environment. And I felt unsafe. And so for me, that was a source of safety, that now when I write, it's not as an escape, it's a release, which is a very completely different energy.
Yeah. I'm sure you're processing. I was filming with Dr. Coleman this morning. We both know Christine, our resident therapist here at the Beauty Manifest, but also a friend of ours. And we were talking about this same concept and just how important it is. I think it's interesting what you share now about where you're finding value in yourself. You know, this concept of being a human being. We're not a human doing.
Hmm.
And I think you so eloquently remind your community of that regularly.
Thank you. I say you can't robot your way through life, but specifically a quote that I'm consistently sharing and that gets shared is, when you try to be something to everyone, you become no one to yourself. And I did that. We've done that.
Oh, yeah.
We do that at work. We do that in our relationships and our friendships because we want to please. But sometimes it's really easy to mistake please for self-sacrificing.
Girl.
And then you
So
lose
much so
yourself.
that- I mean, I've sabotaged relationships from self-sacrificing, and you think that
We all?
you think you're doing the right thing. It actually sabotages it because you lose yourself, and that's never going to work.
And it's not fair to your friend, your partner, or
Right.
whatever they are, because then you're also shortening their learning curve.
Yeah.
We are trying to go in and fix and save, but then we stop them from the experiences and the lessons that they have to learn. Relationships are relational. So like I grow and learn and love in relationships. I heal and reflect in isolation, but I can only understand myself better in relation to other people.
That's really interesting that you say that, my friend. Did I tell you that I spoke the psychic that I see, Brandy? Did I tell you that I spoke with her and I was asking her about relationships, and I was like, I don't feel codependent, but I feel like I'm supposed to be in a relationship, and I always have been. And she was like, no, you learn in relationships in this life.
Oh my goodness, because it's true. You know how Jennifer Lopez gets so much shit for constantly being in relationships? I wrote about this in one of my newsletters.
I was going to say, this sounds familiar. Maybe I saw it in your newsletter or you mentioned it to me.
You're not everybody's meant to learn in the same way.
Yeah.
And I grow and learn about myself in relation. I'm not let me be single, let me get on dating apps, let me just date. I'm a monogamous person, and
Me
there's nothing wrong with that. So am I always going to be in a relationship? Yes.
This is so validating. I feel very validated by you right now. So thank you.
We are meant to be in a relationship, even if it's a relationship with our pets.
Yeah.
They're our babies. So
Yeah.
I have so much love and capacity to love that why would I just withhold that?
So much love. I love love.
I love
I love love.
I love love. And
I just don't like when love hurts.
But that also talks about your bravery, because I think it's with life and death. None of us are getting out of this alive.
Yeah.
And if you're willing to love, you got to be willing to hurt.
Mm-hmm.
And that's part of it. It's part of the
All
game.
part of the ride.
It's all part of the ride.
Well, let's go back. So coming up, you definitely found your value through your productivity, through what you were giving or supporting in your family, which a huge part of that was helping to raise your siblings and helping to raise yourself. And like you said, that just creates such a different structure for your life. And as you come up, it's interesting how our traumas can actually become our superpowers in our career and our success. And I think that's really evident with you, because as shitty and painful as that was, my God, it put a fire in you. And now you're at this beautiful place, and I feel like I'm speaking for myself as I say this too. I feel like now you're in this beautiful place where you're like, oh, I have this fire and I'm going to use it for me.
Right. And I'm not going to build the same way.
Yeah.
And that's why this is the year of building differently for everybody. Because so many of us identify with the what, how we create, what we give to somebody. I was so identified with titles. I was obsessed. I have no fear of admitting it because I grew up in New York City. I raised myself through corporate America, and I wore trauma like I wore my outfits with a lot of pride.
Mm-hmm.
And
that was another one of our parallels, just our corporate experience.
The corporate experience.
I mean, I was on that ladder. On that corporate ladder.
It's so hard to get off of it when you're on it, right? We talked about the golden handcuffs. We talked about the terrible bosses. And because sometimes we allow ourselves to stay in those situations because they're so familiar and they remind us of our childhood. And that comfort creates a false sense of control. And that control creates a false sense of safety. And one of the things that I've been realizing in this journey of sovereignty, of loving myself, of using that fire for myself, is that if I stay in comfort, then that's me being loyal to my past. And if I'm going to be loyal to my future, then discomfort is a mechanism of that.
There are some TBM episodes where I have to kind of watch it a few times to get all the sound bites for the cut downs for social. This episode is literally just going to be 200 sound bites because your words, woman,
Thank you.
are so impactful. and concise. I don't know, you're just
You should see what's in my head. You should see what's rolling through my head. It's consistent. And that's part of the self-reflection. And I know you asked this a lot about what makes people most vulnerable.
Yeah, we'll ask you for the confessional at the end.
Ooh, I can't wait.
It'll come up at the top of the episode, but yeah, it's what makes you feel the most vulnerable. It's a loaded question, and it can
It
be
is.
so many things because every second we're vulnerable about something else.
We're vulnerable when we step outside in the world that we live in today.
Mm-hmm.
We have zero guarantee and control over what's going to happen, but we are so concerned with what
Especially these
people are
days.
going to think.
My gosh, yeah.
We literally have a person completely unfit to be running a country, and we are so worried about if someone's going to like a post. We are so worried about if someone's going to judge what we're doing. And we delay our own happiness because we're trying to find 100% certainty before doing the thing. And so you're delaying your own joy and happiness. Why? Because you were probably conditioned to wait to take care of everybody else before you take care of yourself. And I grew up that way. And it wasn't out of malice. My mom and dad were never like, you don't matter.
Of course.
It's just that they were dealing with their own traumas.
Yes, of course.
Our parents tried the best they fucking could with what they had.
Fully believe that, yeah.
And, you know, some of us just had a different draw, and I think it's what you do with those cards. Put me in the motherfucking room, though. I'm going to make something happen.
Absolutely, and I've seen it.
That I'm just going to figure it the fuck out.
Yeah.
And I think there's nothing wrong with that. And I don't care to be perfect anymore because it's so exhausting.
You're my favorite kind of people because my people are the people who they don't know how to half-ass anything and they're going to figure it out.
Yeah.
Like there is something so powerful about that. And it's funny because even in my like most self-critical and self-conscious eras in the past, I still had that in me. I don't know if that's the Capricorn.
You're an exceptional person. Every exceptional woman I have ever met never thinks they do enough.
Yeah.
And you're an exceptional being. And you also know the depth and capacity of what you can love. And so you just hope that that reciprocity is always there. But I think sometimes it goes back to we love in a language that people haven't learned yet. And our role in life is to teach them that there's another language for that love.
Yes.
At our expense.
At our expense.
What is the truth?
But that's also why going back to, you know, timelines in this life of like where you are and what relationship you're in. Are you married yet? Whatever. It's all such bullshit.
It really is.
It's so made up because we're all on this like crazy journey where what you're going through right now is not only building your business and your stability and your security in this life that we have to deal with logistics, but it's also, and more importantly in some ways, inspiring and creating community. And I think there are people in this world that are meant to share their healing. You know, I think you and me, everyone in this room, and Gato,
and everyone
all those
listening
people.
here, they listen to this podcast because they know that they're here to serve something greater than themselves. But the only way they figured it out, and to try to figure it out, they have to go through the shit.
Yeah.
They have to be in the mud. If everything were perfect, you're living a very linear life, and there's really nothing linear about life.
Girl, I sometimes when I meet people who like have never experienced a death, or like I feel bad. I don't want to be like, you don't even know. Like I'm not trying to be an asshole, and it is all relative. I stand so strongly in that statement that the pain we experience in this life, everything, it is relative. And the way it impacts us is. But it can be difficult to get close, for me to get close to someone who has never experienced real loss because I have had so much death in my life.
Yeah.
It's almost like energetically there's like a disconnect sometimes.
Yeah. Because so many people live with so many masks and facades because imagine what they're afraid to uncover.
And those things are what break them off, break
Right.
them down.
Exactly.
Yeah, I hear you.
And death, whether it's of a person, of a situation, of a relationship, of a job, of a career, of an identity,
Grief.
exactly, is necessary because it's consistently pulling back the layer so that you can figure out who you actually are.
Right.
Without the death, you don't get to have a rebirth.
Absolutely. And what do I keep from shit grows flowers? That's what I keep saying. We just reloaded the camera real quick and I started to talk about the fact that Brandon, Vanessa, and I probably were in a coven together in a past life. And you started to talk about this psilocybin trip. Tell me more.
I did a psilocybin journey with a dear friend. Her name is Rocio Navarro. She is an incredible healing arts specialist, and she works with water as a medium.
I was gonna say, is this the same woman that you did the water healing with?
Yes.
I started
She's
following
incredible.
her, and I've seen some.
Everyone needs to do it. Everyone needs to contact her,
I should probably
rocionavarro.org,
do something like this soon.
because she works with water as a medium. We are beings of water,
Yeah.
right? We through gestation, we go through water to have a birth, and we're so interconnected to it, and water holds memory.
And
And so
we are the ocean, girl.
exactly,
Yes.
just like we're the waves.
Yes.
The waves are part of the ocean. The
Yes.
ocean is part of the waves.
Yes.
And it's all interconnected. And I did this journey with her and one of my business partners at the time, and it was just so magical because it uncovered so much of different past lives that I always had a feeling, when you just know at a certain age. I knew too much and have seen too much at such a young age to think that I was actually my age.
Yeah.
And it's not until now later in life that I feel like a late bloomer, because this is the youngest I have ever felt in my life, which is so interesting because I've had so many deaths. The deaths allow you to feel rejuvenated. And one of the visions that I saw in my psilocybin journey was being burned at the stake. And I was like, I was a witch of some sort. I was a community gatherer.
They're holding hands with you, girl.
We were holding hands. We were trying to liberate women.
Yeah.
And that's when I was like, that is my motivation in life, in whatever medium it is to liberate myself. And through that, I liberate other people. When you follow your dreams, you show other people it's possible. When you break up with someone, you show someone that it's okay. When you fall in love, you show someone, oh, it's not that scary. And so many of us are conduits for other people. And the only way we're going to do it is by allowing ourselves to fully fucking fall. And when you let yourself fall, you can be free.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
How was the psilocybin trip? Like, did you get sick?
I felt perfectly.
It was an easy experience.
It was a
'Cause
beautiful
some people, it's
experience.
very challenging. I've never done a psilocybin trip. I have done like a heavy wait, psilocybin. Is that what you said?
Yeah.
Oh, I have done a psilocybin.
I'm like, yes, you have.
For some reason in my head, I thought we were talking about ayahuasca.
No,
don't
I
know
have not
why
done the
that was.
ayahuasca.
I heard ayahuasca, even though you said
The ayahuasca does sit a lot
what I
in
was
the
thinking of.
intestinal
Yes.
digestive tract, and a lot of people do experience nausea because so many people hold stress there,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
We have the chakras, and depending on the kind of core wounds you're here to heal in this lifetime, because we all come into this lifetime with an Achilles heel, something that we're here to heal.
Seems
And
that way, certainly.
people can be catalysts, situation can be catalysts to them, and where you feel in your body says a lot about what you need to heal and address. So ayahuasca targets a lot here. I haven't touched that yet.
I'm scared.
I don't know if I need to. I feel like
I feel the same way.
for me, I live so much in my head
Yeah, me too.
and I feel so much in my heart that the journey of psilocybin was a lot more heart opening and mind. What I loved is that my mind separated itself so that I could actually see without having to justify or think about it, and just allow whatever the vision it is to take up space.
My psilocybin experience that was guided with the shaman and all that, not a great experience. It was pretty brutal. I wanted out of it the whole time. I was very uncomfortable.
What was brutal about it?
It just, as soon as it hit, I was really uncomfortable. I felt incredibly anxious. Incredibly anxious. And the visuals that I was seeing, like all the geometric shapes and stuff that you see when you close your eyes, was very uncomfortable. I didn't like seeing it.
Really?
It felt really intense. It all just felt really intense and anxious. Like I just wanted to take an anti-anxiety pill and make it stop. And I had felt that way, and we were only an hour in.
And that's a process of hours for it to
It
course
makes me
through your
feel
body.
sick, talking about it.
And this is why I love working with Rocio, because she has a process where she preps you, right? Because there needs to be a process.
Yeah.
She preps you. She sets the container where it's energetic so you feel safe, so that you also understand what is currently lingering in your system, because the medicine is going to make it come up.
Yes.
And that's what the medicine is there to do. It's not going to give you what you want. It is going to show you what you need to see.
Yes.
And it's the same thing with us, right? We don't get what we want. We are who we're trying to show up as. The universe shows us based on where our nervous system is. It bends to our nervous system. It doesn't, I could want X, Y, and Z, but if I'm not the person that actually can sustain and hold that thing, I'm not going to get it.
Yes.
So there's this gap that we all walk with.
I do believe you get what you are supposed to get out of it. And my experience walking out of that the feeling that I had was, all right, you don't need to keep trying to heal yourself.
There's some people that stay in a perpetual healing state
Yes.
because, again, it gives them a false sense of control and it makes them feel like they're doing something productive.
Yes.
Because what's scarier
I think
is
that
to,
was me.
is to witness yourself and be like, who am I if I'm not constantly healing?
Yes.
And so the question I ask myself is, who am I if I'm not constantly suffering?
I think I took my workaholicism and I put that into my healing, which did help me like push forward in my healing, but it hit a certain point, and I think that was it where I didn't need that trip.
Yeah.
Like I had done enough work.
You have done a lot of work.
Done a lot of work.
You have done a lot of work. And how beautiful that you can say, I don't have to exist in that narrative anymore. Because that's also an identity.
Well, that's why when you're talking about I have to suffer for success, or I have to suffer, like what was the ritual that it's on your website? It was
The funeral.
funeral.
The funeral
I
of
did
the 1.0 self.
I did Vanessa's self-funeral ritual, and that was a huge part of it for me. I am not a sufferer. So when you said that, I was just, again, another parallel. And Vanessa has these beautifully curated like rituals and journal prompts and all these things. So just another thing for people to really lean into, because I think what I love the most about the work that you do and that you share with your community is that it continues to support. We do not need anything outside of ourselves. And I think healers who lean into that are the real ones. If a healer of any sort, because I consider you a healer, of course, like
Thank you.
a healer of any sort is telling you that you need them, or it's that fear-driven red flag, red flag, red flag.
Yeah.
But if it's about turning in, it's about you, and it's about, and all of your work is about that. It's about turning into yourself.
Because I know what has happened when I seek external validation. I sought it my entire life.
Me too.
We look for the answers outside. We look for the love outside of ourselves, and we forget that we are an infinite, vast, open space of just love. And it's, this is one of the things that's super vulnerable for me to express. But, when you are a child of domestic violence and sexual abuse, it's easy to sit with that grief and make that your story. And so that's why the suffering was always an anchor in my life, because I took pride in it, because I was like, oh, I'd been raped, check. I'd been molested, checked. I was homeless, check. I worked my way up the ladder. Like I found every single thing and had to look at it from the lens of I had to suffer to get this. And that funeral of the 1.0 self was my reclamation to myself of like, I don't have to get the things I want to suffer. And those things happen for me, not to me. Because I needed to understand what safety meant in my body. It's ironic that last year, 2025, my word of the year was pleasure. You can't have pleasure if you don't have safety. I didn't have safety in my life. Not in my career, not in my relationships, not with myself. And I was expecting it from so many other people, consistently external. And when you do that, you put yourself in the seat of not having any power. And then again, you become everything to everyone and no one to yourself. And that for me was my reclamation, my form of saying, I'm not going to keep this narrative, this fucking loop, this cycle, this story. I'm going to utilize neuroplasticity, work within myself, and get rid of those identities, because those things happened, but I don't have to keep using that as an anchor to build. I don't have to use that as an anchor to heal or to get through things. I can also say, I'm someone who is just super happy and things have happened. Like everybody has had shit happen to them, but I don't need to use it as the basis of my story. My anchor point is now I'm a full embodied sovereign woman who's still figuring out how she can love herself without needing to suffer for it.
Ugh, my gosh.
I see why you have tissues here.
Yeah. Can we have you run our country?
I mean,
This is the leadership that we need in our communities. And this is why you have been a leader in the Latina community and why people look at you this way. Because first of all, thank you for sharing that. That is so incredibly vulnerable, and it's not easy to go there. And I know that you lean into your vulnerability, and I knew these things about you, but I wasn't going to bring them up. And I
Mhm.
thank you for being open enough to share that with others, because I know that someone listening is going to be deeply impacted by what you just shared. I also know so deeply in my fucking soul that you are meant to share this. And from personal experience doing the 1.0 self ritual, that was what it was for me. And you can extend your pain and create progress. And that is just so fucking beautiful.
Thank you. Well, we do that. You do that for me in so many ways, right? This podcast has done that for me and so many other people, and how you've held space and created safety for me. And the women in my life have shown me what safety feels like.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just so beautiful that we get to experience that. And this is why womanhood is so important. This is why the work that I do is not just something that I put so it's cute on my fucking LinkedIn. Like, I no longer want to live a life that pleases LinkedIn. I want to live a life that pleases me.
Yeah.
What do I love? Right? Every year, everyone makes resolutions. I want to do this. I want to do that. And I'm not doing that this year, because I want to know, what do I love? Not what do I want? Not what do I want to get?
What do I need to change about myself?
What do I love?
Yeah.
What would I love? I would love peace, mental peace. I would love that when I wake up at 3 a.m., it's not thoughts spiraling about what someone could and couldn't be saying about me. It's, I have another idea. I cannot wait to execute on it.
Mm-hmm.
It's being able to wake up in the morning and appreciate the fact that I have the eyes that can see a sunrise. And I have the safety in my home that I've been able to create for myself and my boys, because I'm no longer needing to run away from somebody physically or emotionally or mentally and spiritually abusing me. I'm safe. And that is so hard to come by when we exist in an environment that's consistently making us feel unsafe.
I mean, the whole world too. There's so many levels of the lack of safety.
Yeah.
For each individual, it can be so different. But I mean, what we're experiencing, what we're seeing our immigrant family and friends and people experience on the daily is just such deep-rooted fear and insecurity and lack of safety. And then you add on the experiences that we all endure through our lives. You know, we all experience pain and trauma on different levels. It's just, it feels so consuming lately.
It's easier to operate from a fear-based place
Mm-hmm.
because it gives you something to feel like you're running towards. It's much harder to operate from a love place,
Yeah.
from a place of love. That's fucking vulnerable.
Do we have you crying? We have Brandon crying. I was like, she's not crying at the moment. I thought you were gonna hand her a tissue or something. I was like, oh, Brandon's
When
crying.
production needs a tissue.
I love you.
Production, you're
We're the feelers, so
We're the
Well, there's
feelers.
a reason why Brandon is one of the few people that I would invite to have, or I would ask to have on set here, because the space that we create for these conversations, you know,
It really starts
can't
with
just
the
have
person.
some like stoic non-feeler in the corner just like staring at us. Like, you are part of this, the energy that we're creating and the story that you're telling. It's just,
Energy
anyways,
snitches.
I love you.
Energy snitches. And so they have an
They.
energy of safety,
Yeah.
right? When we hugged, it was a full body hug. It wasn't a tap on the back.
and I said that before. I was like, just creating that safe space for us to be ourselves and to be with each other.
Yeah. And you bring that naturally because it's actually the frequency you operate at. And so that's why I say energy snitches, because you have to pay attention to how your body feels when you interact with people.
Yeah.
And how else are you going to know that is unsafe for you and harmful unless you actually experience it? I'm somebody that the only way I learn my lesson is through experiencing it, even if it's as fucked up as it may feel. It doesn't mean that that person's out to get me. It's there to teach me a lesson. The things that happen to us are not punishment. They're lessons. They're opportunities for us to witness ourselves and also witness the people that we have in our immediate circle. And you create a beautiful sense of safety, which is why I feel so comfortable expressing this, not just to you, but to the community that you're cultivating, because that's part of your ethos.
Yeah, thank you. I really appreciate you seeing that. You are powerful woman.
I haven't always felt powerful.
Well, I think a lot of that was probably stripped from you for most of, your childhood. Like, you're just trying to take that control back. And
Yeah.
thank God you finally have gotten to that place. Like, and that doesn't make it any less hard. I mean, you're still very much so, I know from just being your friend, and we have our touch points and catch ups and our voice
I
notes.
love our voice
Our
notes.
voice note novels, I love.
I told Melinda one day, please just take our voice notes and just make that the podcast episode.
Literally.
It's just because in those moments of just, blah, blah, blah,
Yeah.
you know, it's so raw and honest.
Well, and again, just how you and I have so many parallels through the lessons that we're learning, professionally, personally.
Yeah.
I mean, both you and I this year, our entire lives crumbled. I mean, I'm still with Sephora, but there was a period of time where I did not think I would be,
Right.
just because of changes and stuff at corporate and whatnot. But
And also nothing is guaranteed.
and nothing's guaranteed. But it really crumbled down to, I mean, I did get let go, and I also went through a massive separation this year, and you experienced both of those things as well. And you've been such not just a mirror, I know you're a reflector for sure, but also an expander for me. I think all of us, multi-generational relationships, peer relationship, whatever kind of relationship, it doesn't matter. I think we all are in different places with different things. And so you can be a little bit further ahead in one area, and I can really be inspired by that experience. I mean, your openness, and if you don't want this in here, I will cut it out, but your openness of sharing about your separation with me was so significant.
Hmm.
So I can't even, like, helpful is not even an impactful enough word for the impact that you made for me. So I just can't applaud and encourage you enough on continuing to do the work you're doing, the community you're building, but also just personally as your friend. I mean, this is just, you live and breathe it. You embody it.
Thank you. Because one of the promises I made to myself is that I wouldn't lie to myself anymore. Because if I lie to myself, I'm going to lie to other people. And when
What were you finding yourself lying to yourself about?
saying yes when I wanted to say no,
Okay. Yeah.
putting myself or allowing situations to occur without setting a boundary.
Those
because
people-pleasing tendencies.
very much people pleasing you. And I see so much potential in people and situations that I often forget my own needs, and I want to save them,
Yeah.
fix them.
Yeah.
And they don't need that from me. And that's not fair to them.
Yeah.
And then I create resentment.
Yeah.
And that's not what that needs. Not the situation, not the relationship, not the friendship. And so much of how I programmed myself was a survival mechanism. And the beautiful thing about having everything stripped away from you, career, relationship, financials, I mean, and one of the reasons why I share so vulnerably is because we exist so much in a world where there's so much fucking fakeness that you don't know what's real.
Mm-hmm.
And what we're craving is humanity. What we're craving is seeing that somebody else can still be exceptional, can still be intelligent, can still be beautiful, can still be all the things, but they're still human and they
Ugh,
experience very real life. And so when you have it all stripped away, there was a day last year, and I haven't publicly shared this, but I had no money to buy food. I had built multi-million-dollar empires. I was once a millionaire in my 20s. I had filed for patents. I have won global innovation awards, and I couldn't afford to feed myself. That does something.
I'm so sorry, my
someone.
friend. I didn't know that. And
I was too prideful to even say anything.
I
was
understand that
ashamed.
because I know you.
Yeah.
And I know that would be so
And
hard.
I fucking love food. I'm a Taurus. I love me some good food, but I just didn't have the means at the time because I was still operating from that energy of survival of I need to get through this. I need to get through this. But then when I realized, oh, wait, hold on. I have a protein shake. I have some hummus and crackers. I actually am provided for. When I started to look at what I do have and count my blessings, it's when the narratives started to fall away. It's when I started to build the framework for the self, the death of the 1.0 self. This is when I started to build the framework for the self-reclamation method of, oh, my current situation doesn't define me. And this is not who I am, but the right people will see me. They don't care about a title. They don't
No.
care. And when I finally verbalized it to my close ones, people that I felt comfortable sharing at the time, because it just so happened he checked in. And I told my mom and my dad, which is very uncomfortable because I was the provider for so long.
Yes.
And I'm like, I can't feed myself right now. And then having them each dissolve me $100, I was like, oh,
I can ask for help.
a state of receivership.
And my God, you deserve it for everything
But I
that you've
didn't
given.
allow it
Yeah.
because I love to give, because it also gave me a false sense of control. So not only was I a people pleaser, I was a control freak.
Yeah.
I tried to control and plan for everything. And the universe is like, okay, mijita, let me fucking check you and let me strip you of everything, because then all you have is yourself. And that is actually everything. When I told my therapist, I feel like I lost it all. And she said, no, let's reframe. You actually gained yourself back. You gained it all. And I was like, oh my God, you're so right. And so many times when things leave our life, whether it's love, a relationship, a parent, a sibling, or a situation, a career we love, a business we love, we immediately go into the default of survival or needing to someone be the villain and someone's the victim.
Yeah.
And imagine a world, and not just for the world, but for your world, for your internal world. If you can look at a situation and just say, what a blessing that I got to feel these things. That is a sign of life.
Yeah.
Because if you have no problems, you're dead. You're
Yeah.
never going to be absent of problems. But how lucky are we that we have the tools and people that want to be there? We just have to let them. Because people say, I'm alone. No, you're not. You choose to be.
Right.
And it's okay, because I love me in isolation moment.
Me
Because
too. You know I'm a hermit crab.
girl, you got to give me a really good fucking reason to leave my house. Me and my boys, I fucking love them boys. I'm not going to need to leave unless I have to. It's a crazy world out there, right?
I'm with you.
And I had to be okay with asking for help. And that doesn't make me weak. That doesn't make me... And it was such a thing when you grow up poor. You just always feel that someone's judging you because of your financial status. Because I was in all those environments.
Yeah, naturally that becomes like a bit of a trigger.
100%.
Yeah.
100%. But I actually realized how rich I am. I'm like, wait, I've been able to provide for myself. I had smart investments that gave me capital gains for me to be able to sustain. I was able to make withdrawals from my IRA in order to provide for myself. I received help from my ex partner. He was really giving and supportive. My mom and my dad. And I never would have expected that had not allowed myself to receive it and had the situation. And, the universe not stripped everything away to be like, let someone fucking give to you for a chance.
Oh my gosh, absolutely. Because how much did you give to every single one of them? I mean, I've heard you talk about how you've
because I
given
love
every
to give.
single one of them.
When I love, I don't just love you superficially.
Yeah.
And maybe I love, again, in a language that some haven't learned yet, but I love in a way that I want to give you everything because you deserve it.
Yes. It's hard to be... I love to give. And it's hard to give in a relationship with anyone who doesn't give as well, because the imbalance can happen so easily. And so I think that's part of what makes our relationship feel so safe, is that I know you're always going to reciprocate.
Yeah. Reciprocity is a very beautiful thing, a good quality to have in any kind of situation.
Yep.
You know what I love about cats is that they understand boundaries. We can learn something from them.
I like that you have to work for a cat's love and respect. Like a lot of dogs,
Absolutely.
you don't really have to try that hard. I like that with my cats, our relationship gets stronger and stronger and more deep. It's really... I mean, I'm sure that happens with dogs too, but yeah, cats take a little bit more
More time.
more time.
As it should.
Yeah. Hi. Gato has joined us. Sweet angel.
So cute.
Are you just gonna stand here? You can. Okay.
Yeah.
He's like, carry on. Feed me. So I really wanted to touch on... what is your grandmother's name?
Olga Leon.
Olga Leon.
Yeah.
Did I say that okay?
Olga Leon, yeah.
And is that the last name that you added to your handle?
Leon, I added Leo in my handle. I wanted to honor her.
I wanted to circle back on that.
Yeah.
I wanted to double tap here, because when we talk about, being a witch or just the matriarchy, I feel that is a massive theme in my life, is healing the matriarchy lineage in my family. And I feel like that is incredibly significant for you as well. And there's something that just like zapped me on the inside when you told me that you changed your handle. And I know it sounds silly talking about like an Instagram handle, but
No,
it's not silly.
it's not silly.
Like there's something very significant about making that change.
Yeah.
What in you, kind of what pinged you to do that?
Although it looks cosmetic, it was very cellular.
Yeah, no, I for sure know that. That's
Right?
why I'm asking, like, what in you?
I just knew that this era that I'm stepping into, which is sovereignty, is loving myself and respecting also my upbringing and where I came from and the women who birthed me.
Mm-hmm.
And my grandmother, my abuelita, has always been such a prominent figure in my life. And I wanted to find a way, one, to honor and respect her, two, to really also embody what I'm preaching about, which is sovereignty, liberation for women, dismantling this ridiculous patriarchy that we are existing in.
Amen, sister.
And sometimes we don't have to try to boil the ocean. We can just do one little thing. And that kind of sets the spark for all the other things. And changing my handle to honor and respect her felt like such a significant thing, specifically because I found out that she was diagnosed with cancer.
Mm.
And it was the one time that I was like, wow, but this is not something I can fix.
Yeah.
I can't fix it.
Yeah.
And I thrive on fixing people, things, situations. And I realized that sometimes that bleeds into our businesses. And when you're consistently trying to fix everything, you're running a trauma center, not a business.
Mm-hmm.
And I needed to adjust how I operated and looked at things. And that's why this is my year of building differently. And when I learned that she had cancer, and a kind of rare cancer that has a 3 to 5 year lifespan, when I know she's currently 90 years old, her goal is to live to 100. I was like, oh my God, is she going to make it to that goal? I don't know. And so then there was a lot of guilt because I promised her that I would do things that I hadn't been able to do because I had been such a workaholic for the last 4 years of my life. My business took 60 plus hours a week.
Yeah.
My relationship suffered because of it. Myself suffered because of it. And I was wanting to kind of have a declaration on what can I do that is significant that maybe she might not even realize is that important, but it means something to me. And so there's a letter entry that I wrote for Letters of In Between that is the fix her died at 3 a.m. Where I woke up in the middle of the night. I was like, I can't fix this for her. I can't make her cancer go away, but I can. And the one thing I control is how I show up for her.
Yeah.
And what I do about this. And I let her know that I had this vision of me changing my last name to honor her. And we did a FaceTime. And my grandmother doesn't often smile. She's always just a very stoic. And it was the first time I saw her fully grin. And I was like, oh, wow.
Ugh. I have full body chills.
That was special that I got to see that, experience that. And for her to know, because my grandmother also lives very much in that suffering, right? So many of our parents, immigrant parents do. I suffered to get here. We suffered, we sacrificed. And it's this energy.
Holding that lineage energy, like that you're healing.
And I had this ancestral rage that I knew I needed to heal, but I wasn't going to do that through continuing to break myself apart.
Right.
I wanted to do that from a very different place. And I felt in that moment that she was like, oh, my job here is important. And me being on this earth, even through everything I had to sacrifice, is so that this woman, as in me, is here to carry on a legacy of changing the narrative for how women treat themselves and love themselves and treat other women. And so even though it is a cosmetic change, for me, it was something cellular because it really became the spark of, I want to love myself to a degree that I will honor myself, even if it means disappointing somebody else. And so I changed it. She's happy. And she still can't believe that my handle is that. And then she's like, are you going to change it legally? I was like, well, there goes a lot of paperwork.
Yeah.
But for all intensive purposes, yes.
I wanted to ask you, and I love your explanation. I just got chills multiple times, and chills to me so often just reflect truth. But the instant that you said that earlier in our conversation, I knew I wanted to circle back on it because the first thing that came to mind, and it resonates very deeply with me and my experience with the matriarchy and the lineage of women in my family. The second that you said that, I thought to myself, this is the energetic shift of you living your life in a way that is going to heal generations before you and generations after you. And I think that we are all doing that in our lives. But there's something about when you said that to me that just felt, this is the shift. And what a goddamn gift that you could give that to her before she goes.
And give it to myself.
Mm-hmm.
We often see a gift as something we give to someone
Oh,
else.
yeah.
And the gift was for myself. And thank you for saying that, because you and I, we operate in so many mediums where we hear so many people speak and we can tell that they're a great speaker. They've been media trained, but we could also tell they've lived it.
Yeah.
And part of you, what you do well and what I do well is that we can tell somebody's lived it.
Yeah.
Which is why you get the chills, and which
Yeah.
is why I get the chills.
Yeah.
Right. Which is also why I got the chills
I
when
think
Brendan was sharing their
Yeah.
story. I was like, I can tell they lived it.
there's a communication happening between us that aren't just words. It's energy.
We're transacting 100% of the time with each other, with the universe. And so much of what we're transacting is so unconscious. And that is why the work that we do within ourselves is not something you could ever put on LinkedIn or on social media, but it is the most important and the most transformative, because not only would it heal you, as you said, it'll heal the lineage, it'll heal your ancestors.
Yeah.
And it really has to start with understanding that everything you've ever fucking wanted exists the moment you get out of your fucking head
Yeah.
and into your heart.
And the more you can live for yourself, the more that you actually deeply impact others.
Hold yourself in the highest regard. And this is not the year for you to gatekeep yourself. We're not gatekeeping ourselves this year. It's not just about gatekeeping things. Stop gatekeeping yourself.
Yeah.
Because the more that you show your light,
Mm-hmm.
the more light is brought into this world. And fuck, we need that right now.
I'm so glad that you bring this up, actually. I wish I remembered who was speaking to this on social media, but someone I follow mentioned this. And it's this concept of, when it comes to healing work, spirituality, whatever you want to call it, self-development, we have been so focused on ourselves, as we should be. We have to pour into our cup first in order to pour out for others, right?
Yep.
Hands down, period, end of story. However, it is so evident that as a collective, we have continued to segregate and separate and lose that connection and that community with one another. So I love that you're saying it this way. It's like, you cannot gatekeep yourself. We have done the work. Now is the time to share that, because the collective needs it, like, more than ever.
You don't know who you're influencing and inspiring just by being who you are.
Mm-hmm.
There's so many people online, creators, that have no idea how they've changed my lives.
Yeah.
They have no idea. And I say lives, not life, because I've lived many.
Mm-hmm.
We all have.
Yeah.
Every situation, it's an opportunity to start a new life.
I literally feel like I've had different spirits in me throughout my life. I know that sounds kind of
Girl, that's
wild to some people
Amen. No,
listening,
yeah,
but
yeah.
like, literally, like, I feel like a completely different soul
You are.
than I was.
Energetically, right? And you can feel that, you can sense that.
Yeah.
You're so in your body
Yeah.
on a cellular level. And I think that's where the real work exists, is in the quiet of your heart.
Yeah. And it has to happen there first, but I think it's so important. I think we've become so self-obsessed, and there's a lot of things that contribute to that. I'm not saying it's just the healing work or just the spirituality stuff, but I do think there has been a theme around it being very individualistic.
Mm-hmm.
And we are at a place in our world where we have to come together.
I love that you said that, because it's so different from individuation.
Expand on that.
Individuation is liberating yourself and setting yourself free, so that the more authentic you actually can be with yourself, the more permission you create for others to be authentic.
Individuation.
themselves.
I don't even think I knew this word. I love that.
I don't even know if that's an actual word. I
Just
think
make
so.
it one if it is.
I know for a fact it is, and I must have read
Yeah,
it somewhere, but it's been living in me that we do act as individuals,
Uh-huh.
but we need to be acting as a collective.
Yes.
Right? We need to be harnessing the collective power. We need to be harnessing our collective energies, because every time you meditate, or every time I meditate, we're elevating collective consciousness. And we're not saying this out of spiritual ego, even though that runs incredibly rampant online. We say this from a place of, I know that the work that I'm doing for myself is not just bettering myself, it's bettering my relationships and helping the people that I love, because the people we love deserve better.
Yeah.
The people we love deserve a full embodied version
Yeah.
of me.
Absolutely.
And every single time that I choose to love myself differently, I give myself permission to also be loved. I can only receive the amount of love that I'm actually giving myself.
I'm learning that one right now. I'm not good at accepting love. You know, when it's pain, I hermit, and when
Yeah.
people try to connect when I'm in that phase, I get irritable.
Yeah,
And I'm like, there's a pattern here.
our body seeks safety, and safety comes from how did we soothe ourselves when we were children, right? We were talking about this earlier. When we cry,
Yeah.
we go to the closet.
The closet or my cats, yeah. And
Right.
who did I cry to as a kid? My cat.
I cried in
who
my
I had-
closet.
Yeah,
I had to do a lot of hiding in the closet.
yeah, absolutely. That's where I went to.
Yeah, and no pun intended, but I'm no longer in the closet. So
Fucking love that for you. I mean, that's been a huge part of your journey recently too that we haven't even touched on. I mean, there are so many layers to you. There's so many layers to all of us, but how beautiful that has come out of this experience too.
I know. I feel
That
I
you can
feel so
explore
blessed
love.
in all the different facets.
Yes.
And with myself, and love myself through it. I think
Yes.
the more you can love yourself through all the moments where you can't tolerate yourself, you're doing good.
I just, we were talking earlier about women and the impact of women and community of women. I was going to say it, but we were so like in that moment. And I'm like, it's the women and it's the queer community. It is anybody who identifies in the queer community, in the queer space. I can't speak to this enough. I know Lady Gaga speaks to this. A lot of advocates for that community speak to this. We should be looking at the queer community as leaders. We should be learning from them. We should be asking questions because they
Courageous.
They feel they have
They express out loud.
I don't even, what's the right adjective for it? The the level of acceptance. My gosh, we talk about having a woman leader in this country. How great would
Wouldn't
it
it
be
be
to have a
great?
queer leader?
Can we just form a pack and try to get a woman elected so that we can reverse the fuckery that has been going on in this
I love
country?
some men are coming out. I think it was like a video of like Will Ferrell or something like that I saw online, and he was literally at a podium. I'm not sure what event he was giving a speech at, and he's like, I think we've had enough shots. Like, women, like, if you could take over now.
Let's give a woman a try.
Yeah, like, we haven't been doing so good. Like, repeating the same thing that doesn't work is defined as insanity. Maybe it's and I think what I like too is we talk about this like feminine energy or masculine energy, and
Feminine energy.
it's not about if you're a man or a woman. It's we all embody both of those energies, and some of us hold more than the other, and sometimes we get out of balance because of our partner. Like you might be holding way too much masculine energy because,
and I did for so long.
yeah.
And
Same.
I did as well as corporate because that's how you can navigate
Corporate is
those
such masculine
environments.
energy.
You have to, right?
Oh my God.
I had been in situations where there were unwarranted sexual advances, but I said and did nothing because I was too afraid of losing my livelihood, and I didn't want to seem like a snitch because the one time I did say something about it, I actually was not supported. And so it shuts down women who are trying to actually change the game and adjust and survive in an environment that is not actually safe and supportive.
And you think about how many people have experienced that and not spoken up. Especially if someone like you who is as strong and powerful, even in different versions of yourself, that it was that challenging.
Women are, God, I love women.
Yeah.
I love women friendships. All the women friendships that I've ever had in my life, whether they're in my life now or not, is why I'm here.
Mm-hmm.
I am so grateful for every single woman I have ever had the pleasure of meeting, of creating with, of co-living with, of co-spiring with, because they showed me so much about myself. I think a relationship with a woman, whether it's a friendship or romantic, a sister or whatever it may be, it teaches you so much about yourself. And this is why I love men who can tap into their femininity, who have a female friend in their life. Got those like, I love my mama and she's a woman.
What's up, baby?
She's a beautiful woman.
Oh. What? We hear ya. Funny man. Yeah, I really wanted to end on bringing it back to your grandmother.
Oh,
Um,
my abuelita. Thank you for doing that.
Absolutely. It's just, as soon as you said it, it resonated so deeply with me. I also just think it's a beautiful way to kind of round out this entire conversation. It kind of speaks to a lot of what we discussed on a certain level, you know?
Yeah. Thank you for doing that. And thank you for creating the space and allowing me to be able to tell more of her story and just being able to express the significance that she had in my life, that she has, because she's still very much here. Thank goodness.
Yeah. Oh, I appreciate the world appreciates you, Vanessa. Like what you are bringing to the collective, like we were talking about, is so powerful. I really very much so encourage anyone listening to look at your work, look at your reading, your words, and just breathe them in because they are transformational. And so many people are in places of transition and feel so lost and have no pillar to look to. And you are such an incredible pillar for so many, myself included. So just thank you for sharing yourself. You definitely have to come back on again at some point
I would love
when your
to.
gut tells you it's right.
I'm
because
building a new business, girl.
I know you're building and I know, you're still in this transition. I guess we're always really in a transition.
Sign of life.
But I know in my gut there's going to be another conversation to have soon. So I look forward to it and I can't wait. And this has just been such a treat. So thank you. And for everyone listening, a reminder, where can everyone find you?
Vanessa Santos Leon at Vanessa Santos Leon on Instagram, TikTok, and on my website at vsantos.co, because I run a beautiful monthly community that's free and it's for women who are ready to play big and stop playing small.
Absolutely. Yeah. And it's been an incredible influence on me personally and professionally. So
Thank you.
I highly recommend. And now we
for
get to
having
just
me.
hang out. I just am so happy.
Let's have
you're
some matcha and chill.
Yes, okay.
Matcha and chill.
here. And back. Transparently, Brandon and I have talked about, or I talked to Brandon about how I want to, the cadence of filming the intro and outros to our episodes. And last time we filmed, we were like, we're going to do it so that we film the intro beforehand and then the outro afterwards so that it's like just smooth and it goes in order. And then, of course, today I'm like, actually, let's do both before. But it's because Vanessa's going to hang out afterwards. And I figure, so most of the time I'll do my outro afterwards. And that's why I'll be like, this is what we talked about and this is what I love. But I'm mixing things around today. But I just wanted to have a moment to kind of close out. And as always, say thank you to all of you for just showing up and being part of this community that I'm building. And when I talk to my friends and family and people in the beauty industry that express that they listen to the show, I still am surprised. I'm still shocked and I'm very flattered. And it means so much. And getting to have people like Vanessa on this podcast is why it means so much. It's because not only am I investing into purpose-driven work that I'm passionate about within the beauty space and creating change, I'm investing into myself and my business and what I'm trying to build and the stability I'm trying to create for my own workflow. But I also feel like I'm investing in my friends. I'm investing in the people that I have onto this podcast. Anytime I have someone on, it's an investment. And I feel really lucky to get to do that. I feel really lucky to get to lift up the voices of people that I admire so much and get to learn from them. And yeah, I can go on and gush about it forever, but just wanted to take the opportunity to say thank you for the love and support. As always, please, 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 I know I joke about it and I'm always just like, what do you say at the end of the podcast? But it's only because I've been working in beauty tutorials for so long that when people say like and subscribe, I die a little bit inside every time. But I gotta say it, and it does mean a lot. So if you wouldn't mind, like, subscribe, leave a review. Reviews mean a lot, not just for the performance of the podcast, but also for me. It means a lot that someone goes out of their way to write something and give me genuine and honest feedback. Always, always, always give me lots of love on social, especially around the Beauty Anonymous series. That's with our resident therapist, Dr. Christine Coleman. And you can write in via DM, comments, email, whatever you prefer, to anonymously suggest a topic for Dr. Christine Coleman and I to unpack in the Beauty Anonymous series. So I always like to just send a reminder of that. I actually filmed with her this morning virtually, and that episode will go live before this one does. But it was tears and just really beautiful connection. Dr. Coleman is so cool because she takes expertise and blends it so well with vulnerable authenticity, where oftentimes I think you can look at an expert or a therapist and it can be a little intimidating or kind of just like, yeah, like, but she puts her heart into it and you can feel it. And I love that I'm talking about Dr. Coleman along with Vanessa's episode as well, because I introduced the two of them, and just beautiful Latina women doing really incredible community work. Christine through Soul Sisters, her nonprofit, and Vanessa through her work with Real Girl Latina in the past and what she's building now, which you would have just learned so much about. So anyways, appreciate you guys. Do all of the social things that I love and appreciate, and I'll see you next time. Now I'm going to go hang out with Vanessa because we never get to. Okay, bye.